This is How to Beat, a series on how to beat every single powerful trainer in the best Pokemon game ever, Pokemon Blaze Black 2 and Pokemon Volt White 2. What else did you think they were? Today, we'll be looking at the alliteration aficionado and rowdy rockstar Roxie. Seriously, second only to Red's epic Dots. This is still my favorite quote in Pokemon. Roxie, one of the 3 new gym leaders introduced in Black 2 and White 2. I remember when the first official art of her was released and I always thought she had a sweet design. She also had the best gym music, Fight Me, and I always found neat how the music loses instruments as you defeat the trainers. What's more, the music even had vocals from Roxie herself, unlike the music in that one fight in that game that will not be named. But I digress. Anyways, her team. She leads with a Trubbish with Aftermath holding a Focus Sash, and boy what a lead this guy is. Roxie's whole team strategy is to spread poison on all your Pokemon, and yes, poison is annoying, but the real kicker is Venoshock, a move that deals disgusting amounts of damage to poison Pokemon. All of her Pokemon after Trubbish has Venoshock, and very few Pokemon can get through even a neutral boosted Venoshock at this point of the game. Trubbish's toxic spikes can cost you the battle when left unchecked, as it poisons any non-steel or poison type that switches in, boosting her other Pokemon's Venoshocks. Trubbish isn't just a setup Pokemon either. He has Gunk Shot, which is the single strongest physical poison type attack in the game, Payback to counter psychic types, and Explosion, which is a devastating attack against almost anything, though honestly I've only seen her use it once in all my runs. Focus Sash prevents one-hit KOs and is particularly dangerous in tandem with Explosion. All in all, throw this trash out as fast as possible. Next up is Coughing, with Levitate holding an Eviolite. This big ball of gas has ridiculous coverage with Thunderbolt and Flamethrower. She's really a pain to beat overall, as Levitate makes her good against ground, Flamethrower makes her good against steels like Magnemite and bugs like Beedrill and Butterfree, while Thunderbolt is just a great move overall. Eviolite makes her already great defenses even better. This one's probably the hardest Pokemon to beat on our team, so be careful. Croagunk is next, with Dry Skin and a normal gem. Unlike Coughing, this guy's arguably the easiest Pokemon to beat on our team. The normal gem is supposed to augment her Fake Out, but from my experience it doesn't really deal that much damage, boosted or unboosted. Dry Skin is also a non-factor in this fight unless you're Duot. Vacuum Wave and Drain Punch are able to deal with normal, rock, and steel types. Overall not the toughest, but don't get too cocky. Golbat is Roxie's special sweeper, holding Wise Glasses with the ability Inner Focus with the moves Venoshock, Nasty Plot, Hypnosis, and Air Slash. Yes, Nasty Plot is definitely nasty, but Hypnosis allows her to spam Nasty Plot and or deal a deadly attack, with Wise Glasses boosting her potency even further. To put into perspective, a boosted Air Slash is capable of 3 to 4 shotting a Magnemite with 1/4 effectiveness. Yeah, scary Pokemon. Seviper is Roxie's tank, packing Shedskin and a Lumberry with Venoshock, Sucker Punch, Rest, and Giga Drain. This thing can sustain through a lot with both Rest and Giga Drain. Lumberry is for a free rest wake up, while Shedskin helps with reducing sleep duration once the Lumberry is popped. Seviper is the first fully evolved Pokemon you face on a gym leader, and boy will you feel it when you face this gal. Lastly is her ace, Whirlipede has an Eviolite and Poison Point with the moves Rollout, Steamroller, Venoshock, and Payback. Definitely a tough one, but compared to the rest of her team, it's not the worst thing for you to face. As long as you stop Rollout from ramping up, his other attacks aren't much of a trouble, especially if you aren't poisoned. Eviolite does definitely make her quite the damage sponge, so don't go too easy. Overall, I would say that though Roxie arguably isn't as difficult of a contender compared to Charon, her team still demands you prepare well. And prepare well we will. First of all, I want to establish something with these guides, and it's that I won't be talking about items, specifically consumable items. I will be doing my analysis without taking them into consideration. I'll probably make a more detailed video on my reasonings in the future, but essentially I always felt that using more than 1 or 2 items in a fight is too exploitative, eliminates a lot of the game's challenge, and trivializes a lot of moves. Like, why teach your Pokemon healing moves like Recover and Morning Sun if you could just use max potions? Why teach your Pokemon status clearing moves like Heal Bell if full heals exist, etc, etc. Of course, outside of battle, you can use as many items as you need, and I want to be clear that I'm not shaming anyone for spamming potions and stuff. Like, it's a single player game. Feel free to do whatever you want. I'm explaining all of this because I feel that a lot of the challenge with this Roxie battle is mitigating and avoiding poison status, and simply just buying and using tons of antidotes is a bit too simple of a solution. there are more legitimate ways to beat this fight than just spamming recovery and healing items. With all of that said, let's look at your options. Trubbish's explosion would punch a big hole into your team no matter who she's up against. You really have only 3 options to mitigate and or avoid this. Phase tank it with a steel type like Magnemite, which is immune/resist all of her attacks. Encore it when it's using toxic spikes with Togepi, or knock it out quickly before the AI decides to. Also, remember that Aftermath will only trigger after being knocked out by a contact move, not self-destruction. Now with the garbage gone, there's more than likely a layer of toxic spikes below your feet. It is very important that you clear this out as soon as possible. Take note that though Venoshock deals more damage to poison foes, the move can inflict poison itself. Once the spikes have been cleared, the only Pokemon that can manually apply poison is Coughing with Toxic. Once you defeat both Trubbish and Coughing, you no longer have to worry about Venoshock's beefed up damage. Now, the easiest way to clear the spikes is by sending out a poison type to clear them out. Pokemon like the Beedrill line, the Dustox line, Venipede, the Nidorino line, the Nidorina line, Coughing, and Krogunk. You don't even need to train this Pokemon up. You can just send them to absorb the spikes and their jobs are done. Alright, now with the spikes gone, Coughing. The easiest way to beat this bumpy ball of bad is with Butterfree, surprisingly enough. Butterfree learns Confusion upon evolving, and, more importantly, Sleep Powder a bit later. Sleep Powder and Butterfree's good speed ensures that Coughing can retaliate with Thunderbolt or Flamethrower as you pound it down with super effective Confusions. You can repeat the same process with all of her other Pokemon, though Golbat outspeeds unless you overlevel Butterfree. Other than Butterfree, your choices for Coughing aren't as straightforward. Hitting its much lower special defense instead of defense is more ideal though, so Pokemon with strong special attacks and status like Marip, Electrike, Elekid, Magnemite, and especially Pokemon with psychic type attacks like Togepi and Ralts are good general choices. Voltorb can also put up a light screen that helps against the numerous special attacks of Roxie's team. Don't forget that Coughing is holding an Eviolite and can more than likely survive 3 to 4 good attacks. The TM4 Thief can be found in the Verbank complex and can be used to steal the purple blob away. I find Thief especially useful taught on Spike Cleaner like Beedrill. Krogunk is next and is arguably the easiest to take out. Fake Out is not much of a factor, even with normal gem, and she's 4 times weak to psychic type attacks. A single psychic type attack from a Butterfree, Ralts, Venonat, Dustox, or Mime Jr., honestly even just a strong stab attack should do the job. Golbat is Roxie's sweeper, and as with sweepers in competitive, paralysis makes it cry. Golbat is a fast Pokemon. In fact, the only Pokemon that can reliably outspeed it at this point of the game is Voltorb at roughly the same level. And even then, Voltorb can't learn Thunder Wave without a TM. This leaves your options for debuff Pokemon Magnemite and or Fluffy, the latter of which I recommend if you already raised a Marip for Cheren. Marip evolves at level 15, can take hits, and learns Charge Beam upon evolving, which has a chance to boost special attack upon use. Magnemite learns both Thunder Wave and Supersonic, and can take Air Slash for days as long as Golbat is taken out quickly and doesn't get too many nasty plats off. Quick Claw is a good item to give Magnemite to remedy its awful speed somewhat, plus it can give you a chance to outspeed and disable Golbat before it can use Hypnosis. Golbat also tends to use Nasty Plat immediately, so a well-timed Encore could be massive. Seviper's Sucker Punch is to counter your Psychic types, which sounds like a challenge, but honestly, Magnemite and Butterfree kind of stomp here. Thunder Wave and Sleep Powder respectively pop Lumberry, and Magnemite specifically resists all of her attacks. Once the Lumberry has been popped, Shedskin only has a 1 in 3 chance of curing status conditions, and can't cure stuff like Confusion. This means that you can still, theoretically, get a free few turns to wail on her, or for Magnemite to use Supersonic after rest. Overall, not the toughest Pokemon to beat. If you haven't noticed by the number of times I've mentioned Magnemite so far, yeah, get Magnemite, it's perfect for this fight. Time for her ace, her trump card, Whirlipede. Pignite kind of trivializes this fight, as the self-cooked bacon resists all of her attacks sans Venoshock, and can dish out heavy damage with Flame Charge. Just be careful of Poison Point. Other fire types like Magby and Growlithe are okay, but Rollout kind of squashes them, so I can't really recommend them. And speaking of Rollout, unless you are currently on the aforementioned Pignite, make sure to switch and either paralyze or confuse her when she starts rolling. The 5th roll can do devastating damage to anything regardless of resistance, so watch out. As like before, Magnemite is a great choice here and resists literally all of her attacks. And that's it for her team. For training, you can fight the trainers and hunt for Audinos at the Verbank complex, and or fight Broly at the pier. For other options, Audino has Heal Bell upon being caught, a move that can cure your whole team of status, specifically poisons. Dunsparce has been buffed this game, and you can do Serene Grace plus Headbutt hacks with him if you're feeling nutty. Both of these Pokemon appear in Shaking Grass, but Dunsparce is incredibly rare, so keep that in mind. Rapid Spin can also be used to clear out Toxic Spikes if you don't want to use a Poison type, though the only obtainable Pokemon that can learn it at this point of the game is Squirtle at level 19, which you can get from the Harlequin in this house if you talk to him during either January, February, or March. Or change the system time. I'll talk about the starters more on a separate video, but yeah, Squirtle. You'll probably notice that I haven't mentioned Beldum anywhere. Beldum is super buff in this hack, having Iron Head, Headbutt, and most importantly, Zen Headbutt immediately upon catching. Fully evolved, it becomes one of the strongest attackers and walls in the entire game. It's definitely a great Pokemon. The only problem is it only has a 5% chance to appear on Shaking Grass with a legendary Pokemon level catch rate. That's not even taking into consideration having to possibly catch multiple Beldum if you want Analytic, an arguably much better ability than Clear Body. If you do decide you want to grab the Sentient Logitech webcam for the long term, then I definitely recommend it. But if you just want to get through Roxie, Magnemite is a much better option as it has a much better defensive type. And that's it for Roxie. If you did enjoy, feel free to watch this video on Charon. Subscribe if you're new, and yeah, that's about it. Salamat at mag-ingat kayo. Alright, time to work on the next fit. Who's the next gym leader again?
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh no.